BYDFi is a crypto exchange on desktop and mobile where you can spot trade, futures trade, use leverage tokens, and copy the trades of top trade. There's hundreds of crypto available on their spot exchange, as well as a free test account so you can practice futures trading without getting wrecked. BYDFi.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at these markets then, shall we? We're starting off with the Bitcoin dominance chart, which, again, a little, I wouldn't say concerning, and there's opportunity the higher we go. We've had big rejections from this area up here, which is sitting at 55.19%, right? And we've had support and resistance on this descending triangle. So there's a trend line now, basically. We're getting a bounce from there. This is a weekly chart, and the 7 simple moving averages seems to be where we're getting the bounce from. So on the face of it, it does look like it wants to go up. So that could mean that Bitcoin just pushes up, outperforms altcoins, or that it comes down, and obviously altcoins bleed harder than Bitcoin. So it's still a Bitcoin driven market, and at this point it looks like that's what it wants to do, based on this dominance chart. And again, the weekly tells a story of higher time frames, and so it might not happen today, but generally you'd be better off in many ways holding your Bitcoin and not rotating, unless of course there's a decent setup on that particular altcoin chart, because obviously no altcoin is created equal, we know that. Looking at it over here on the daily, again, it's been pretty sideways for the last week, but we're looking like we're trying to make a convincing move above all moving averages again. So again, weekly, daily, above all moving averages, which counts for a lot. So we would expect to see the same on the 4 hourly, which is what we do see. We're above everything, getting supports on the 200 simple moving average on the 4 hourly as well. So it doesn't matter which way you cut it, it does look like it wants to go up, and that's the truth of it, really. So maybe we aren't going to see some epic movement in altcoin markets as in like right now or today. I mean, I could be wrong, because this is a choppy chart. When we were looking to trade the breakdown and the breakout, it was all over the place. We weren't sure, because there was a pump signal basically, as well as being above all moving averages at this resistance, and we were making small closures above it. I was thinking, look, I mean, the chart wants it to move up, but it didn't move up, did it? It did find a move down. So the dominance chart is handy, it is useful, and it helps you gauge risk when moving from Bitcoin to altcoin and altcoin to Bitcoin. But it used to be a lot. Oh, my voice went very squeaky there. It used to be a lot more cut and dry, this chart, than it is these days. But yeah, I mean, if we move back up to this area again, assuming we do, which I think is a relatively safe assumption that we will get up to this level again. Another small rotation or expectation that altcoins are going to move, but the main focus is going to be up here. Now, this is going to be where if we're going to see anything savage, epic, huge moves on altcoins for potentially a prolonged period of time with lots and lots of gains. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. I think I'm making these videos too early in the morning. This is where we'll see it, it's an educated guess, but it's based around supports and resistances, huge ones as well. And that area is back up at 57.6, basically. Right, so let's have a look at crypto itself. So Bitcoin daily, constantly nudging up higher and higher and higher. And again, like I said, I believe we're going to live within this range, the mid to upper 70s, all the way back down to the mid 60s, right? So it's about a $12,000 range I think Bitcoin's going to live within. And obviously that's choppy as anything. So if we were to just say we gave up the game today, that's a 10% move down. As we move up, it's a almost 5% move up. If we were to make our way to the top, all the way down to the bottom, it's a 14% drop, almost 15% drop from the top to the bottom. And it's just, again, an educated guess that this is where we're going to live. So you can imagine what will happen for altcoins if we come down from here, or we go up from here and then come down. They will get hurt, they will bleed, and they are already bleeding. So I said on the Telegram yesterday how the bounce was not all I expected it to be. I was expecting a little bit more, so I took some chips off the table yesterday. Yeah, I mean, altcoins are down. They're more or less unchanged. I mean, we're back down to effectively the entry points of the previous day, really. So nothing really gained, nothing really lost. I mean, there's still plenty of opportunity, But for an overview, a general overview, it doesn't look particularly inviting at this exact level for most things. And again, owning XRP is different because obviously we bought this, way back down where. But one of my more recent entries was Ethereum Classic, and I was expecting a move into the upper 40s, really. And I'm sure we're going to get it, but at the moment it does look like it really wants to cool off. We are expressing the need to allow for the bearish divergence to play out. And so for something like Ethereum Classic, $33.50 would be the appropriate entry point. For XRP, maybe 62 is the appropriate entry, but back at this support, we're already at the 68, and 10 exponential down at the 65. So your guess really is as good as mine, because no altcoins are created equal. Every chart is going to behave differently, whether they've already popped off and they go down just to another higher low, which is most likely going to be the case, or if they haven't moved, or if they're continuing to go down, then they get hurt and significantly pushed down the stairs. So look, the dominance chart is telling us that Bitcoin is going to outperform altcoins until we hit that resistance, and maybe we burst through and hit the next resistance. So Bitcoin is the better place to be for the moment, I would say. But that doesn't mean there's no opportunity in altcoins. Now, remember the video I was talking about before, that last dip that we had, which was a measly dip, and we bought the dip, and it was a measly bounce. So a small dip, small bounce, no big deal. And the day before we were thinking, well, if we are going to get a dip on this on these charts, we could measure out anything between, well, similar to how we've measured already, really. We're talking around 10%, 15% for Bitcoin, so you can imagine 10 to 15% for altcoins, or more, obviously, because that is normally the way it works. So we might be looking to see that get fulfilled, and those deeper dips get tagged. So Ethereum itself is basically a 9% pullback to the Bollinger Band Center, the 21 exponential as well. So with that, we should think, okay, that is the best gauge for altcoins, because this is a strong chart, and so far it's still holding on to its 7 simple moving average, which is bullish. For the most part, bang, up we go, bang, up we go, bang, little bit of a dip down, bang, up we go, bang, bang, up we go, bang, up we go, bang, 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 up we go. So the 7 symbol has held it for quite a long period of time here on the daily, but the 4 hourly does look like it's curling over a little bit in a rejection just now. And again, if we see a loss of these areas, because the Bollinger Bands are pinching quite tightly, and when you get a tight pinch like that, you are looking for a volatile move. And considering that we've had bearish divergence across the board for altcoins and Bitcoin for quite a while now, then a deeper dip is absolutely fine, and it's an opportunity. It's nothing more than an opportunity to buy the dip. So like I say, a measly dip with a measly bounce, yeah, fair enough. It was okay, but it wasn't enormous. I mean, that low cap coin that I bought was pretty good. Actually took profit on that one, and that did about a 40 to 50% gain in a day. That was all right, but again, that's what you get when you trade in these super low cap MEXC altcoins, really. High risk, high reward. So that one worked out okay, but generally across the board for most altcoins, it's not really looking particularly friendly at this moment. So all eyes on Bitcoin. Hopefully Bitcoin keeps going up. If it doesn't, if it keeps going down, that's no big deal either. It just offers more opportunity to buy altcoin dips at significantly lower levels. So we are doing a Patreon live stream tomorrow night, on Friday night. So if you want to tune into that, you've got to sign up to the Patreon. Other than that, join the Telegram if there's any major change in the markets that I feel is worth expressing. And I don't put too much in there because I don't want to throw people off their own plans. If this YouTube is about anything, it's about me telling you what I think is most likely, given where we are at this moment in the morning, right? So staring at these charts minute to minute, hour to hour, 4 hourly to daily, things do change. And if I feel like there is a big change taking place or something I'm concerned about, I will mention it in the Telegram. But really, I'm not as vocal as I would imagine a lot of these people who are doing Signals group, because that's really not what I am. And the best thing for you guys, and I always stress it on the videos, is for you guys to make your own plan. Think about your own trades. Don't try and copy my trades. I'm obviously wrong quite a lot of the time, but I'm right enough to make money out of the market, and that's all that really counts. So I am not speaking the biblical trading truth here. This is not That you don't just tune into me in the morning and go, well, this is what he thinks is going to happen at 7 o'clock, so it must happen. This is how it's going to be throughout the whole day. Absolutely not. No way. I always try to point out that when the US markets open at 2:30 UK time, basically, then the game changes then already. So, for me to make another video around then just because of that, it's kind of impossible. I've got school runs and, kids clubs and all kinds of stuff to take. But yeah, I mean, there's a portion in the day, every day, outside of weekends, that really does change the goalpost. So what I say in the mornings can easily flip quite quickly in the afternoons because of the way that the American trading market's open. And speaking of that, there is only one other way to give any idea as to what might be going on in the US trading when that opens, is to look at something like the the US 500. It's a pre-market, technically a pre-market of the S&P, and at the moment it's technically unchanged. It's a little bit in the green. It's technically unchanged. So I mean, it still looks good. I have to say, it does look quite good still for continuation. But to what point and how high can it go? It is a bullish chart. There isn't any bearish divergence on this 4-hourly right now, so I wouldn't be particularly or massively over concerned about how this is performing, throughout the day. But things can happen, and things can change, and those things will change at 2:30 if we have anything. And the best guess is, but leading into 2:30, you can have a look at the US 500 or the US 100, which is the Nasdaq equivalent, and to see if there's a gap. And by that I mean if there's if we're opening higher or lower than yesterday's close. So at the moment you can see this is higher than yesterday's close, but it's only a smidgen. If it starts to close lower than yesterday's close, unless we're coming down to a support already, then yeah, we're looking for a dip in the market, which is likely to be felt with crypto. The only other thing, obviously, will be the Dixie, and the Dixie dripping down on the 4-hourly looks like it wants to turn a corner. It would only be for a death cross retest until proven otherwise, which means that we are looking for a move up on the Dixie. It doesn't have to happen today, but we are looking for a move up on the Dixie, and most likely get rejected from it. And that would be a move up to 103.5, which again is not huge. It's 0.5%, just over 0.5%. If you take ourselves over to the daily, we are below most moving averages, all moving averages on the daily, that would be. Still continuing with the death cross and getting so far rejection 1, 2 and possibly 3 days in a row on a 7 simple. So it's doing the opposite of what Bitcoin and Ethereum is doing, which is they're all getting supports on their 7 simple and moving up. Dixie's getting rejection on its 7 simple and moving down. We don't have any bullish divergence on this or anything like that. So with that in mind, we should think, okay, the most likely destination over the next few weeks is a continuation down. But the lower we go, the more likely it is that we do see a significant bounce and maybe even a reversal, because we've been down for a little while here, but the weekly is still bullish. Golden cross, retest, possible another retest just below 101. So think about that. Just think about that. We've been rallying for a long time across all markets, across all boards. It's been having a great old time. Dixie, it's kind of been a choppy sideways environment, but it still maintains a bullish chart on a weekly. Coming down to a support, we do have to tune ourselves back into Sanity FM and recognise the risks involved in continuing to buy charts that, at least the charts that have been rallying loads and loads and loads. I still feel like there's a fair bit of life in this market yet, but as the weeks continue to draw out, basically, and the closer we get to that halving and the closer we get to that Dixie support, the more likely it is that I'm going to take even more chips off the table and maintain a harder and heavier cash position. And why wouldn't you? You want to hold dollars if you're going to get a dollar bounce, especially if a dollar bounce corresponds to a downtrend in all markets. It's a win-win. It might not be the most profitable trade you've ever made, holding loads of dollars, but if we are going to get a bounce on the Dixie, we could assume maybe a bounce from maybe down here to up here. It's still a 4% trade, 6 to 7% trade potentially, which is nothing in comparison to what we make in crypto day to day. But it's better than losing 20, 30, 40, 50%, isn't it? So you've got to stand back and recognise what it is that you're doing when you're holding cash
Why are you holding cash? Yeah, to avoid losses. And also, sometimes a cash position is a profitable position. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Nothing much more to say. Stay tuned. Join the Patreon. Join the Telegram. Subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day. Take it easy.